I think we can all agree on the fact that Jeffy is the most popular SML character. Loved by many and hated by others, it's incredible how much influence and recognition a simple puppet character with a helmet and a yellow shirt can have over the internet. However, Jeffy has been around ever since 2016, and many people don't actually know or understand his whole story and background within the SML universe. He has appeared in hundreds of videos by this point, and it might be difficult for some people to understand his whole life within the story of the SML universe. That's why in this video, I will try my best to explain the whole life of Jeffy up to this point in a cohesive timeline that is easy to understand, even for those that are not familiar with Jeffy. This is the first of a series of videos I'm planning to upload in which I will explain the whole timeline of the most important SML characters. Please subscribe if you don't want to miss those videos as well. Without further ado, let's begin! The birth of Jeffy. Jeffy was born on August 21st, 2004, being the biological son of Jacques-Pierre Francois, a very famous French artist, and Nancy, a prostitute. He was the firstborn child this couple had, but not the last, since Jeffy also had a twin younger sister whose name was Phoebe. Their parents didn't really care about them though, since Jacques-Pierre Francois became estranged from the family shortly after their birth, and Nancy even said one time that she drank alcohol and smoked even when she was pregnant with Jeffy and Phoebe. Jeffy's childhood. To be honest, we don't actually know a lot about Jeffy's childhood since not much has been revealed. We only know that he was raised in a very abusive household which only consisted of himself, his sister Phoebe, and his abusive mother Nancy. They didn't really have a lot of money, and Nancy used to hit both Jeffy and Phoebe and call them names. At some point in 2015, his sister Phoebe was killed in a bike accident after his mother Nancy used her helmet as an ashtray, leaving her without head protection when a car hit her. Jeffy was a witness of the tragic event. As of that point onwards, Jeffy became afraid of ever taking his helmet off, and he began having dreams in which his sister appeared every now and then. Meeting Marvin. During early 2016, Nancy finally became tired and decided to abandon Jeffy. She drove to an apartment complex, called him ugly, stupid, and a waste of her time, and told him to get out of the car. After Jeffy told her that he was afraid he will eventually forget his own name, she wrote his name on his shirt. Also, she wrote a note instructing whoever found Jeffy to babysit him. After that, Nancy drove off with the intention of never seeing Jeffy again. In the original timeline, Jeffy knocked on Mario's apartment and Mario opened and met Jeffy for the first time. In the current timeline, he knocked on Brooklyn Guy's apartment but he didn't open the door, so Jeffy just wandered around until he found Marvin's house and knocked. Taking into account that both Mario and Marvin are technically the same character, it doesn't really matter, but we will be addressing Marvin by his current name in the rest of the video, and this will also be the case for any other character whose name also changed in the current timeline. The point is that those events led to Marvin opening the door and meeting Jeffy for the first time. Marvin didn't really like Jeffy at first. They were complete strangers after all. Being completely dumbfounded by Jeffy's irrational behavior, Marvin called his then girlfriend Rose, asking her for help. Upon seeing Rose, Jeffy mistook her for his own mother, and from then on, he began calling her mommy. Being unable to control Jeffy, Marvin decided to call the cops. Brooklyn Guy answered the call and came to see what was happening. Being at that moment unable to discover who Jeffy's parents are, Marvin was forced by law to take care of Jeffy until they could find his real parents. Jeffy's first year with Marvin and Rose. Jeffy quickly became attached to both Marvin and Rose and started perceiving them as his parents. Rose also began having motherly feelings for Jeffy and caring a lot about him. Marvin, on the other hand, had a really hard time adapting to Jeffy and his childish behavior, and not even once during this first year acknowledged him as a son or someone he actually cared about. He even tried to get rid of Jeffy plenty of times, but feeling sorry for Jeffy, he had to take care of him. While living with Marvin and Rose, Jeffy was offered a lifestyle with fair conditions in which he was fed, he had an actual bed to sleep in, and in which he lived a better life than the one he had with his mother Nancy. He also made lots of friends such as Junior, Joseph, and Cody, and was even provided with education, something he never had when he lived with Nancy. It wasn't perfect, but from Jeffy's perspective, it was the best lifestyle he could ask for. The death of Jeffy Francois and Nancy's return. During 2017, around a year after Jeffy first met Marvin and Rose, the news broke that the world-renowned artist Jeffy Francois had died after he shot himself in order to complete a piece of art. Jeffy left behind $1 million fortune to his only child, whose identity was at the moment unknown. But, as we already know, that child was, in fact, Jeffy. Upon hearing this news, Nancy immediately went looking for Jeffy. She eventually got in contact with Mr. Goodman in the original timeline and with the police in the current timeline. When they heard the description of the kids she was looking for, they contacted Marvin telling him that a woman was looking for her missing son, which matched Jeffy's description. Marvin, having little love for Jeffy at this point, became really excited and immediately instructed them to make the woman come for Jeffy. Nancy then came to meet Jeffy again after a whole year without seeing him, but with no other motivation than money on her mind. Jeffy immediately recognized her as his real mother, but knowing how horrible his life with her had been, he refused to go with her. Rose, loving Jeffy as if she was her real mom by this point, also was against the idea of giving Jeffy to this woman that didn't actually seem to care about Jeffy. But Marvin decided to completely ignore both of them, and Nancy eventually forced Jeffy to come with her. Rose, totally furious with Marvin, broke off with him. With both Jeffy and Rose gone, Marvin finally realized just how boring and quiet his life was before Jeffy came along. Before being taken away for good, Jeffy was able to escape from Nancy and knocked on Marvin's door one last time, pleading him to let him stay. Once Marvin saw just how desperate Jeffy was and realized that something was definitely off with his mother, he decided to let him stay, but just until his mother returned to pick him up. Nancy eventually came back and Marvin tricked her into sitting down with Jeffy while he called the cops in secret. Once the cops arrived, they discovered just how much of an abusive mother she was and arrested her. Having the option of getting rid of Jeffy through foster care, Marvin decided to adopt Jeffy instead. Shortly after, they discovered that Jeffy is the biological son of Jeffy Francois, who left him millions of dollars, and that Jeffy will become rich by the time he turned 18. After finding out that Marvin decided to adopt Jeffy before he was aware of the millions of dollars he will be getting, Rose decided to get back together with Marvin. From then on, Marvin, Jeffy, and Rose officially became a family, both legally and emotionally. Jeffy's teenage years. Trying to explain everything that happened in every single video after Marvin and Rose officially adopted Jeffy and before he turned 18 will make this video last literally hours. I will only mention some key important things, such as the fact that he created a clone of himself called Scooter using one of Cody's machines. He also eventually got his own car, a driver's license, and even though he should have been in middle school or high school, he got pushed back many years out of school due to him not getting an education when he lived with Nancy. Also, during Jeffy's 17th birthday, Nancy accidentally got confused with the date and, believing it to be Jeffy's 18th birthday, escaped from prison and tried to kill Jeffy in order to get his money, but it was stopped just in time. Upon realizing her mistake, she swore she would take revenge on both Jeffy and Marvin the day Jeffy's real 18th birthday came along. Jeffy's 18th birthday. On the date of Jeffy's 18th birthday during August 21st, 2022, Nancy was able to escape from prison by digging a hole on the wall of her prison cell. The police immediately noticed her escape, but she was able to make them lose all trace of her by using the help of Screwball the Clown, by offering him money in exchange for giving her a ride and helping her kidnap Jeffy. While that whole ordeal was happening, Jeffy and Rose were having a great party with Jeffy and all of his friends. Knowing that as of that day Jeffy will be getting millions of dollars, Marvin decided to obey his every whim, doing things such as making everyone dress up like Jeffy or letting him break his stuff without scolding him. Screwball was able to get into the party by pretending to be a clown hired specifically for Jeffy's birthday, but it was kicked out of the house after Marvin started to think the way he acted was suspicious. Everyone inside the house was just about to sing the happy birthday song and everything was going well until they turned the news on. Turns out that Jeffy Francois, Jeffy's biological father, who everyone thought was dead, was actually alive and simply faked his death to make his art more valuable. He also made the decision of not giving any money to Jeffy. Upon hearing this, Marvin became mad, thinking back on all the times he put up with Jeffy only because he thought he would be getting millions of dollars, and immediately threatened with kicking Jeffy out of the house. However, at the same time this was happening, Screwball and Nancy were finally able to lure Jeffy's friends out of the house by using the ice cream theme song as a decoy. Since they all were wearing Jeffy's outfit, Screwball didn't know who the real Jeffy was. Marvin noticed this and went out of the house to tell the kids to get away from the van, but just at that moment, he was catched by Screwball, who mistook him for Jeffy. Shortly after Marvin was kidnapped, Jeffy and Rose learned about Nancy's escape from prison and were then contacted by Nancy asking for $5 million or otherwise she would kill Marvin. Rose then called the cops. The cops were able to make an agreement with Nancy that they will go to a field and give her the money in exchange for Marvin, but once they arrived, Nancy quickly realized that he didn't actually have the money and decided to make them give her Jeffy in exchange for Marvin instead. Nancy wasn't able to successfully take Jeffy with her into Squirrel's van, and an epic car chase unfolded until Brooklyn Guy's police car ran out of gas. After running out of options, Brooklyn Guy instructed his police partner Simmons to shoot the tire of the van, but that accidentally made the van explode. Everyone believed Jeffy to be dead at that point, but it was revealed that he was able to survive by fighting with his mother inside of the van and taking her gun from her. Jeffy then shot her in the head in self-defense and jumped out of the van just before the explosion took place. Seeing Jeffy alive after believing him to be dead for sure, Marvin finally realized that he actually loves Jeffy and will love him even if he doesn't have millions of dollars. Jeffy nowadays. To end the video, I simply want to mention that right now, Jeffy is still living a happy life with Marvin, Rose, and all of his friends. And even though that whole ordeal with her mother, his father, the millions of dollars, and all of that seems to be over, I'm sure Jeffy still has a lot of things left to experience and to discover, and I doubt we will stop seeing him grow as a character anytime soon. Thanks to the video of SML Movie The Old Machine, we know how Jeffy will look when he's old. And that's it. That was the whole Jeffy timeline up to this point. I did my best to keep it as brief as possible and I hope you enjoyed it. Please tell me in the comment section if you would like me to make more videos like this one. Also, don't forget to like the video, subscribe and hit the bell to support me and support the channel. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!